I'm Gab, he's Jules, blue skies and gorgeous weather outside here in West London. No, actually, not at all. It's horrendous, but that's okay because we're here to brighten things up, aren't
exactly.
we? What a show we have, a lot going on. How about Araujo as the emergency center forward? That's a bit special. Bayern in Der Klassiker, boned mood from one of the Bellinghams. Milan now top of the table, who'd have thunk that? And say shame on you, Santi Jimenez. I'm going to have a go at you later. But we have to start. Liverpool against the guys who knocked them off their perch and then they regained their perch. They lose at home to Manchester United. I think it was the worst run of defeats in 11 years.
Apparently, 2014,
right? That's mad. And United win consecutive league games for the first time in...
That's right.
Since the 2023-24 season.
April or something like that. 24, well done to Ruben Amorim. A good plan that worked. I think a draw probably for me would have been the fair result here. But they found a way with Harry Maguire to win it late. A bit like Chelsea won it late against this Liverpool team that is clearly struggling defensively, especially. We'll get to that. But also to score their chances because, again, they had a way higher XG than United yesterday, way more, almost twice more. But then couldn't score that first goal first, and then the second goal is there's a lot of issues in this Liverpool team. Yeah,
there's also a karmic truth to the universe that early in the season when Liverpool play poorly and win thanks to late goals, performance. This is why we say performances matter. Stuff does catch up with you. I want to go back to Amorim because we've been really hard on him and we've made so much fun of Manchester United over the years. And yes, I agree with you. I think this game could have really gone. I mean, Liverpool could have scored 4 or 5. United could have certainly scored more than the ones that they did score. But he made some big calls. You bench your big money center forward, Benjamin Sesko, for Mason Mount. You bench Lenny Euro, but before kickoff, say, "Oh, Lenny Euro's pace, blah blah blah." And look, here's Harry Maguire, who is the most mocked Manchester United center back since Phil Jones, and you stick with Diallo away from home, which I thought was a good call and vindicated because I had a big game. Casemiro, despite he's tired, he's old, blah, blah, blah. He played in Korea and Japan. You put all these things together. And you know what? Obviously, the early Mbeumo goal helped them. But it's not like his game plan would have been any different if Mbeumo hadn't scored.
No. And to be fair, it was a perfect game plan. And all the players you mentioned were there because of the game plan, because of the tactics that he wanted to go at Kerkers. We saw Cucurella and Chelsea going on the other side before the international break because Salah doesn't defend. And maybe we were wondering, will United do the same? And this is the template to have a go at Liverpool. And instead, they went on the other side and isolated Kerkers against Ahmad all the time. And Bomo getting Van Dijk busy. So it could be just really Ahmad for Kerkers. And Kerkers is, I feel a little bit for him, but he's nowhere near his best level and he's really struggling. So that was clearly the key. And in the first half, especially, United went on that right-hand side the whole time. They basically played long on the left and then moved the ball to the right, and that worked great for them. So it was good. I think he loves Mount because if you have Sesko and Bruno and Mbeumo and Cunha, there's too many people who want to take shot. There's not a facilitator. That's it. In this kind of like front four, if you want. But when Mount is there, not only he helps defending and comes into midfield a lot, which he did yesterday, which was perfect, but also he's the most unselfish of that front four anyway. And that, I think, in a game like this is perfect. Cunha was great, and Bomo. We can talk about the first goal and if the referee should have stopped the game or not for the head injury of McAllister. No. I think this is a fair point. Usually you do stop for head injury, but I think things went so quickly that he could not really stop the game and maybe he doesn't even actually see it properly. But it was perfect. Really, the game plan from Amorim was great.
Cody Gakpo hit the woodwork 3 times, misses a sitter. Mohamed Salah misses a sitter. But I think despite all this, and despite the fact, look, we said it, higher XG, whatever. All right. Do Liverpool have more? Does he have more to fix in attack or in defense?
Oh, that's a great question.
It's a philosophical question.
Can we say as much for each, really? Because defensively is shockingly bad.
And maybe the difference between attack and defense, and then this is something that we can get real granular on the Gab Juls podcast. Tell me if you agree with this. You have more options to fix things in attack. There's more pieces that you can move around.
Definitely.
At the back, you're stuck. You're stuck with Van Dijk. You're stuck with Konate for better and for worse. I'm not saying these are bad players.
Absolutely.
But other than Robbo back and Frimpong on the right, there's only so much fiddling you can really start doing back there. So there's a lot for him to work on. All right, Jules, let's wrestle with the philosophical question because, all right, defensively, very clear.
Yeah.
And it's not just the 2 goals. There were other times when they got done in transition ways you don't expect.
Yeah.
We have rightfully praised Virgil van Dijk and Mohamed Salah. There's an obvious parallel there because both of them older players, both of them phenomenal seasons last year, both of them free agents, both of them rewarded with very big deals. Now, the bean counters will come out and say, not as big as as the pay him what he wants brigade would have wanted. And we have to praise him for that.
Yeah, but still massive.
These are still the 2 highest paid players. Yeah. 2 highest paid players on the team, right?
Yeah.
Van Dijk has had a bumpy start to the season. Are we blaming him for the first goal? Alone?
Yeah. No, because Konate covers. If Konate plays on the same line as Van Dijk, Mbeumo is offside. So there's no...
Right.
Konate covers.
So we blame both of them? Because Van Dijk also has the recovery time of like...
Van Dijk is jogging. It's really unacceptable. Like a defender of his level to be jogging like this after 2 minutes in a game.
Right. Must be an experience.
Clearly not seeing the danger, though, to be fair, not being aware. And really, if there's a centre-back who is very good at reading runs into the half spaces on his side, which is his side, it's him. He's always been so good. There's many games against City, especially when the City midfielders were making those runs where he was there blocking it, reading it so well, and this time he just switches off. Or maybe he expects Konate to be on the same line, so Mbeumo is offside. I don't know what happened really in his mind, but yeah, it's for him and Konate, this one. I don't think Mamardashvili can really do. I know he gets a touch on the ball. There's not much he can do, really.
Sure. The other issue on the second goal, that is a defensive set piece. Slot said afterwards, well, we had made so many attacking substitutions and stuff that our whole defensive set piece organization wasn't where it should have been.
Which is true.
Right. Bro. When Maguire hits the ball, there are 2 Manchester United players behind him. And Maguire and Dijk, you would think, are the 2 biggest threats on set pieces, along with Sesko, who was 8 feet tall, but whatever your defensive organization is, you have defensive leaders who you're paying a lot of money. Just because you've made changes and there's different players on the pitch, and usually look, here's Federico Chiesa. Presumably, Federico Chiesa does these drills as well. And I'm not blaming him. I don't know if it was him. I'm just mentioning him. Frimpong, these guys were on the pitch, right? At that stage. That cannot be an excuse because you work on these things in training. And you cannot have 3 players.
No. You shouldn't. Yeah. It's the second phase of a set piece to start with, which is much more difficult to defend than the first phase where everybody.
Well, because you're starting. Yeah, no, but
so this is different. Remember the Crystal Palace and Ketia goal where he blamed Frimpong on that long throw for trying to go on the counter attack, thinking that the ball had been cleared by
going early,
and gone early, and publicly naming him and saying like he should have stayed basically and not trying to go. They clearly struggled on those second phases. I mean, I think they struggled yesterday on the lot of second balls in general anyway, which is very strange, especially at home. But on this one, I don't know if they try. Not that it's a great clearance, by the way, the first time round, but maybe they try to push. I don't know exactly what happened, but it's a big mistake at that level. You're right. Whoever is on the pitch, it's a bad mistake. But I kind of agree a little bit with him too.
So we're at a stage now where defensively, it's going to be these 2 guys who have to basically carry the can for Liverpool between now and January, at least at the earliest, right?
Yeah.
They didn't get Mark Gay over the line. I slammed them for it. I'm not going to go back. Actually, I will because this is the thing, right? God forbid one of these 2 guys gets injured, and then we have Joe Gomez until he gets injured, and then after that it's Endo, right? So not good.
Yeah.
We can talk about getting help from the fullbacks. The easy explanation is, oh look, Trent is gone, Frimpong is too attacking, Kirkes is too attacking, and so on. It's a bit simplistic, but there's obviously a lot of truth to it. When Kirkes plays, you have to make adjustments, but they were making adjustments last year for Trent as well, except on the other side of the pitch, right?
Yeah, but Robertson and Trent work well together. So, and also in your build-up phase is very different to what you're doing now. Kirkes can't really build anything, to be fair, not even his house. So it is difficult. I was very surprised that Kirkes started that game yesterday. And again, maybe Slot thought, I put Bradley on the right because they will attack on the right because Salah doesn't defend, i.e. what happened, at Chelsea, for example. But Kirkes is so out of form. And I know...
Maybe Robertson's not fit?
No, he played with Scotland in the international break and he made a
Maybe
mistake.
He's tired because he's old. I don't know.
Yeah, or maybe he doesn't trust him anymore. Or we saw what happened against Chelsea. But that was a bad mistake, obviously, for the Estevao winning goal. So maybe he's paid for that. He made a mistake with Scotland against Belarus too. So maybe he's paying for that a little bit. You're right. Maybe he's not fully. I don't know. But to see Kirkes in a game like this, considering his form lately, was hard to understand.
We're going to get to the attack and bypass the midfield. I want to say this. Ryan Gravenberch, monster year last year. I think foolhardy to think he's going to instantly have the same season at the same level again this year when he's never played as much as he did last season or as well. I don't think he's the problem, but I think he's suffering, and I think he suffered in this game because of the pieces around him.
Yeah.
McAllister might have scored 2 goals against Puerto Rico and he got a knock, but he's not the real McAllister.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the problem.
We disagree a little bit. He opted for Szoboszlai, and this is the transition to the attack, right? So we're talking 4-2-3-1. My view, we've made this bet. The Wirtz, if he plays regularly, won't be playing at number 10 for this team. Szoboszlai, I thought did okay, but in the tight spaces, you were saying before off air, well, that's what Wirtz is there. He's there for the low block. Didn't really impact the way he wanted to when he did play.
No, but you don't start. The irony I find is that you don't start him in a game like this when you know United are going to play long and have a low block, which is exactly what they did. You decided. Slot had been very clear that after the 2-2 draw last season, at the start of the year, that's when he realized that they had to bring someone in like Wirtz to be able to play against those low blocks and break those low blocks basically. And yet, in this game, where clearly we all know exactly what is going to happen, and it happens, you leave him on the bench. And Szoboszlai is a really good midfielder. But one, they wanted to upgrade on him.
Guy,
and two, he's not. They wanted a number 10 like Wirtz, and that's why Wirtz is going to play number 10 because they need him in that position. Not Szoboszlai. Szoboszlai is a very good player, can play many different positions, has great skill set, very different to Wirtz. But I was very surprised that Wirtz didn't start a game like this, really.
All right. We don't need to rehash the views on this, but the option of playing Szoboszlai in like Wirtz in a Firmino role with wide players coming in, that's kind of gone out the window because they went and they spunked a ton of money on Ekitike and Isak. Isak, I thought, missed a good chance. At what point do we say, oh, but he missed preseason, oh, but this and that? At what point do we say, no, Isak, you got to play like Isak? Are we there yet?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. I mean, it just needs a bit of time. We go back to this eternal debate. He took Thierry Henry 8 games to score his first goal for Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. All of that, I know. He also took Nicolas Anelka. Okay, maybe. But he also...
So Thierry Henry was a winger when he arrived.
Yeah. But what I meant by that, there's also other number 9s like Erling Haaland who need no time to adapt to anything, really. So I don't
Henry
really
was
buy...
adapting to a new league. And,
I don't really buy... I don't buy that. It's been disappointing. The one chance that Isak has, the one time that United didn't play with the low block and had a medium block, great ball from Konate in behind, he has to score. I don't care. It's a good save by Lamens and he's looking good. Lamens, good for him, good for United. But Isak has to score that, like Salah has to score the kind of little volley he has in that second half. But more than that, I think more than that chance from Isak, it's just they can't find him. He's just not involved at all. Where he's just so good on the ball that I can't believe that the ball doesn't go through him. And even when Wirtz is not there, because if Wirtz is there, we've said from the beginning, he's the 10. The ball is going to go through him. Rightly so. He's an amazing player. You almost build your team around him, and then he just feeds everybody and everything. Okay, great. But then Wirtz is not there. Why is the ball not going into Isak? Why are you doing just keeping it wide to Gakpo?
So you want Isak to come short?
I want Isak to be involved, not stay. I was watching him in the first half. He was literally staying between. He decided to go obviously on Liverpool's right-hand side. So between Maguire and Shaw instead of going on
Right.
the other side. Okay, fine. Just standing there. There was just nothing
I
from him.
think those were instructions because it was so noticeable, especially I think in the first half hour of the game. I think those must have been some sort of tactical instruction. Leave the reference point, maybe go to that side so that maybe you can play a 1-2 with Gakpo coming in or whatever. Clear the other way for Salah. I don't know, but it's the only
just find it
explanation I can
weird.
think of that they wanted to have that reference point because otherwise it was very, very noticeable. It's either that or he's not fit, but he has to be at least physically fit at this stage. Ekitike is like an agent of chaos in a good way, but he wasn't going to make the difference. So then it comes back down to Gakpo. And do we praise Gakpo for his goal and the work rate and whatever? Or do
He's
we
the
have to
best.
bury him for the miss, which is really hard to miss?
Yeah, it is hard to miss. It's a bad miss. It's not as bad, maybe. Well, it's almost as bad as the Mateta one that we'll talk about later. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if it's just for them. It's just too easy. He scored that goal 100 times in his life, in his career as a young player, as a professional player. So you almost take it for granted that that header is going to go in, and you're not focused enough. I don't know, but he's the most informed. He scored against Chelsea before the break. He scored with the Dutch during the break. There's no doubt that without Gakpo, I don't know where they would be for sure. And the two posts. The first one is beautiful. The second one too, to be fair. The third one, the one where he crosses the ball that is deflected, it's a bit different. But without him, there was not much there.
Elephant in the room, Jamie Carragher, notorious Liverpool hater.
Yeah, what did you
suggests
say? I didn't see.
maybe it's time to drop Mohamed Salah.
Well, that happened against Galatasaray, and I didn't change anything.
Wow, that's away from home. He's tired. Blah blah blah. Heading into a big break. I don't know that it's a question of dropping him, but clearly the work defensively isn't being done. He's not as sharp. He can turn it on. I'm just wondering, is this a situation where maybe you project forward and you say, all right, there's a World Cup next summer. There's a Cup of Nations coming in January, which could be Salah's last Cup of Nations, could be his last World Cup. Should we maybe go and work with him physically? Should we maybe try to find a different solution so that when he comes back from the Cup of Nations, sort of come February, March, business end of the season, we have Salah in absolutely dominating form, and then he can ride that through into the World Cup, into the end of the season? Or is there risk that if you drop Salah now, you lose him?
I don't know.
And also, is there an obvious, for all the love for Federico Chiesa, are we back to the same thing with square pegs and round holes? I
think Chiesa can play on the right. I think Gakpo can play on the right. I think Szoboszlai can play on the right. I think you could, if you wanted to move Wirtz there or Kitike there or whatever, you could. And Salah's XG yesterday, you know what it is?
I'm assuming high because that was a pretty good chance.
Yeah, 0.41, but the XG on target is 0.62.
Right,
so the pass for Gakpo on the first time he hit the post is a great pass. So in a way, I guess I'm just trying to defend him because he's such a legend, and it's maybe not all bad, is it? But the fact that he's dead and there's no end product to his game anymore.
It feels like he's playing into pay. He's playing himself into shape, which is fine. But you need an alternative to get the results to turn things around. He will be critical to Liverpool this season. But I think Carragher is right in terms of you have to have a conversation about it. What makes sense for the club and for Mohamed Salah? Because the stakes are higher later on than they are right now. Yeah. And you do need to get points in right now.
I'm just not sure that you drop him and you replace him. I'm not sure the team plays better. I don't think the problem is that...
Well, if Wirtz is going to be on the bench, I'd rather have Wirtz on the right than, even though it would be my least favorite of the Wirtz positions between false nine, left and right. But Wirtz on the right at least will give you something different if Salah's not working, right? At least you get...
Yeah, but I'm not sure the team would be better for it, really. I think, again, Wirtz is a 10. He's not a right, left, false nine, whatever. He's a 10 in this team behind Isak, and I think that can work well. On the right, if you don't have Salah, again, I think you could play Chiesa or Gakpo and have them changing sides regularly because, Gakpo prefer the left, or maybe Chiesa prefers the left as well. I don't know.
Wow,
I'm just
you
not
have
sure.
Chiesa in your starting lineup.
No, but I'm not
would've
sure.
thought-
No, but yesterday, Slot took off Salah after 85 minutes. There is nowhere in a million years that Slot would take Salah off in a game like this.
Right.
At 1-1, 1-0 down against United at Anfield, really, there's none. And Salah didn't play the second game with Egypt, by the way. So it's not even if we say like
He's
he
tired.
played 90 minutes and 90 minutes again. He was not involved in that second game.
Final word on United. Have they turned a corner? 2 wins in a row?
I know we said 2 wins in a row, first time ever under AMORIM, great. But we also seen those good performances in the league in big games. The 2-2 against Liverpool last season, we thought, okay, yeah, that was great. Some of those games we've seen under him. And yet there was no consistency in performances after, and they would go back to sometimes being average. How many times has Bruno Fernandes saying, like, why can't we always play like we did today? After a big game, so many times he said it. So they have to sort this out. But the attitude was great, the mentality was great, the game plan was great. Even if in the end a draw was maybe a fair result, but it was all great. And then you bring Sesko back, for example. So now they play. So Liverpool have Frankfurt away in the Champions League, by the way, and Brentford away in the league next weekend, which is going to be like a battle. That Brentford
Pinball.
game. Yeah, completely. For United. Like, I would love to see this team again. I know it won't be against Liverpool next week, obviously next weekend. There's a whole week to prepare because they have no Europe, which is a great luxury to have. I like this team. I like this team a lot. I like when Mason Mount played in his team. I like the way this team is playing, and I'm hoping that he will keep the same 11. Okay, maybe have Euro there instead of Maguire, let's be honest. But certainly for the midfield and the front players, I like this, and I think there's something in there.
Yeah, the pieces are there, but there's still pieces that don't fit. Bruno in front of the back four, or in front of the defense, is still.
But for now, there's nothing.
Yeah, for now,
I know, but for now, there's nothing better.
Yeah, no, but you have to start working your way out of it. There's nothing better because what? Because we decided Ugarte is worthless. Because Mainu, I mean, obviously he doesn't.
No, but yeah,
he doesn't trust Ugarte or Mainu.
Yeah,
but they can't get into this idea that if they string some results together, they have to go knocking at Mr. Wilcox's door and say, we still need help in midfield. This does not change that.
But you think it would be addressed in January? It's a difficult time to do something because they need a big player. Let's be honest. There's no point going to sign you or me to play in that midfield.
To be honest,
they sign a midfield,
this is where I disagree, and this is a United thing. Because
an average player won't be better than Bruno in that position.
This is what happened. No, I'm not. You're not
signing
somebody to. This was when Ralph Rangnick was there. I think we both know the story. He wanted to take players on loan, and they're like, "No, we're United. We don't take guys on loan. We don't have a budget, but we don't." You have to forget. You have to be a little more humble about this. You have to understand that if you can't get the player you want, if you have to take somebody, a mid-career, a veteran guy on loan to do what Casemiro does, so Casemiro doesn't have to play every game. I'm just saying this as an example.
Yeah.
You go and you do that, and then you make your long-term. They have to get rid of this stupid idea that big clubs don't do that.
No, I know,
if you don't qualify for the Champions League again, you are what you are. You're the club that finished 15th last season.
I hear you. I don't know. They are home to Brighton on at the weekend. I don't know if it's Saturday or Sunday, which suddenly becomes huge because you could also see Ursula going there and Brighton play them out of the park because United will have to play differently than they did at Anfield, and then we go back to square one again. And I just think it's going to be fascinating again.
I don't think Baleba needs another edition, does he?